So one thing that is crystal clear as I travel the state and listen to constituents is the costs of everything are too high right now, whether it's housing, childcare, groceries, energy costs, and certainly the cost of health care. And people are recognizing that they're on the verge of hearing about a new round of increases in healthcare costs, particularly their premium costs for next year. Part of it is the consequence of Trump's big ugly bill that slashed $1 trillion out of Medicaid over the next decade. It's going to have devastating effects in terms of people losing Badger Care here in the state of Wisconsin, but Medicaid across the country. People who are eligible, by the way, for it, who will lose it because of the red tape that has been included. But the other thing that is imminent is the termination of the enhanced premium tax credits for people who buy their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. And that's going to affect, over 250,000 Wisconsinites. They're going to see higher premiums. And in some cases, the premiums are going to spike up so much that they're no longer going to be able to afford to pay them. People on the Affordable Care Act marketplace tend to be entrepreneurs, solo professionals, or small business owners, also small business employees, where they're not getting their health insurance offered through a larger employer, so they have to work in the Affordable Care marketplace. And this is going to have devastating impacts. It's also going to impact our economy in terms of the ability to be a small business. I talked to a restaurateur just a few days ago who said his employees will walk because they need health insurance. He can provide it right now through the Affordable Care Act, but once he can't, those employees are going to go to a corporate employer who can provide health care, and his small business is going to suffer as a result. You heard that with a small business owner here today. You heard that with folks for all sorts of reasons need to rely on the marketplace for their insurance. And so Congress needs to act, and I call on my Republican colleagues in particular. This is our moment to do it. I know so many of my Republican colleagues want to extend these tax credits. This is the time. This is the moment to get it done.
Senator, I want to ask about the impact of, getting these tax credits extended, but also what it could mean for shutting down the government. I know in the past, when Democrats were in power, they always demanded a clean CR. Is it hypocritical for them to say now we want to hold things up because of these tax credits? And maybe it's that important that you have to do this, but can you address that issue of balancing, pushing for these tax credits, but also shutting down the government and the impact that could have on federal workers?
Listen, we have a bipartisan, I think a strong bipartisan group of senators who want to extend these tax credits. This is the moment to get it done. I'll look at any legislative vehicle to get this across the finish line, but what's the ironic part is that Trump's big ugly bill was a tax bill. He focused on giving tax breaks to the richest, the corporations, the profitable corporations, and failed to give a tax break to hardworking Americans who buy their health insurance through the exchange. That was the moment to do it. I voted against that bill. But this is our next chance to extend these tax credits. People are getting their notices about their premiums going up right now. If we don't extend these, there's going to be havoc in the market, not just the Affordable Care Act marketplace, but throughout the country, the employer-sponsored health marketplace, et cetera. We're going to see a lot of volatility because of this, the consequence of this action. I'm also somebody who sits on the Senate Appropriations Committee. I have, we've written our bills, and they are ready for action on the floor. The only reason we need a short extension is because it takes a while to process these bills, and we've already gone through 3 of them. We have a couple more on deck, so we only need a tiny short extension, but this is the moment to fix it.
So just a quick follow-up on that. Is there any scenario, because you mentioned the the 7 senators are needed. Is there any scenario that you could be one of those 7 senators at this point to vote for the CR and stuff if they don't include these tax cuts? Or are you for sure a hard no on that?
Listen, in the Senate, on appropriation bills, on continuing resolutions, on any substantive legislation, we have to move forward in a bipartisan manner. We have gotten from President Trump and House Republicans where they don't need Democrats to work with them in order to move forward on legislation. They've said our way or the highway. And they are not recognizing the reality that in the Senate, you need a bipartisan group to move forward. We've just asked for talks. We've asked to be at the table for negotiations. They've turned a blind eye. And then this morning, I told you about Trump's tweet, no interest in talking to Democrats. If we're going to get the people's business done, if I'm going to be able to adequately represent the people who sent me to Washington to fight for them, then there has to be a conversation in which I'm included.
And with Republicans in control of the House, Senate, and the presidency right now, are you confident you'll be able to extend those affordable health care tax credits?
I'm going to fight because it's so critically important to the people who sent me to Washington to fight for them.
And we'll have time for one more question.
With everything going on in the wake of, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Republicans were very quick to place blame on Democrats right now. Right now, I'm hearing from Democrats saying they're frustrated because there hasn't been any sort of response. What's your take on that?
Look, political violence has reached unacceptable levels. Political violence is never right, and it's not who we are as Americans. Whether we're talking about the Speaker of the Assembly in Minnesota or we're talking about Charlie Kirk, it is never acceptable. Words matter, and the rhetoric does need to be toned down. And I call on all leaders in positions of trust and responsibility to lower the temperature, and that includes our president.